Evening everyone, I hope you're all doing well. A bit of an impromptu video actually today because I've just popped down to the plot to give it a good water and get a couple of things in that are starting to die in the cold frame just where they've got too big. And there's actually so much going on, so I thought I'd just quickly show you what I'm up to and just give you kind of a little overview of how the plot's doing really. So I've got these kohlrabi that need to go in the ground because they are starting to die off, as you can see, and I'm not actually sure how big they get and things, so I'm just gonna risk it. I think I'm not quite sure whether I should be doing that or not, but we're just going to do it, and we're going to plant them next to the Romanesco as well. As you can see, the rhubarb has just gone absolutely crazy, so I'm actually popping to my mum's after this, so I'll take some for her as well. Romanesco are doing really well. Broccoli, I'm not quite sure because it doesn't seem to be growing too much, but I'm not sure if that's normal. The cabbage is doing a little bit better though. They seem to be coming up the last couple of days. All of my lettuce has just gone absolutely mad. It just looks so lovely in between the onions. I'm really pleased I did that. Probably one of my highlights. I have put it in my book to make sure I do it again next year because it's worked really well. And then these ones here were my stir-fry salad mix. So they are quite clumped together, but I'm not sure whether they're meant to get any bigger than that or not. So we shall see. But the onions are doing really well. I know you're meant to wait for them to go brown and kind of start to fall over, but they are falling over, but they're not gone too brown yet. So I'll leave them for a little bit longer, but they get nice and chunky at the bottom. That one in particular looks like it's doing pretty good, and that one over there. And then obviously the back two rows are the garlic, so I've got no idea what is going to happen with those. The leeks are finally starting to appear a lot better, so they're growing nicely. The carrots have gone mad. I'm not sure how well they're actually going to do because I didn't thin them out. They look like they've almost like pushed themselves to a good place, so we might be okay, but I'm not quite sure. You can kind of see here. I might even give them a little cover over as well, just because the tops are starting to show. So I might give them a little sprinkle. And then the purple haze are doing nicely as well. They look like they've thinned themselves out naturally, or I've just planted them correctly. I'm not quite sure. I have got this though, and if anyone knows what it is, I'd be really grateful, but I can't quite figure it out. I didn't plant it. It's kind of just grown since everything's been in the bed, so I'm not quite sure what that is. If you know, do let me know. The kale is still going brilliantly, really pleased. I might even pick some of this tomorrow, not quite sure yet, but we've still got some in the fridge left over. The beets are doing really nicely. I need to de-weed this bed a little bit, but yeah, they seem to be coming up really well. And then in here, I made a bit of a mistake because I thought that I needed to plant more Romanesco, but it wasn't. It was the pak choi, so I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out really. But that is obviously pak choi. This one at the edge here, so we'll see. I'm just going to let everything grow. But it's kind of good actually, because you can kind of see the difference in each one, especially here to here. So we'll see. Not quite sure. Really exciting part is that some of these, I've actually got two that have started to sprout. So whether that means that the other ones aren't going to, I have no idea. But this is the Marina P1. The other ones haven't come up yet along this row. I have got, I think one Tom Fox has come up here, which is nice. I may have to start some at home as well if no more turn up. But I've got a gourd turn up as well, which is the flat striped one, so that should be interesting. None of my baby boos have come up along the edge, and I don't know if that's because there's too many weeds or the ground just isn't good enough there. So I might just have to attempt to do some at home as well. But the courgettes are doing really well. They've come up really nicely. That one's getting a lot bigger than that one and a lot quicker, so not quite sure why that is. Climbers are doing nicely. So these are the French beans going around. They've grown a little bit. I might need to put another kind of layer on these. Whether, I don't actually know if you have to put stuff for them to climb up. I'm not quite sure. They don't look like they've got the like these. So whether they need something to climb up, I don't know, or whether they'll just climb up on their own. These are the spring onions I kind of just chucked into a pot because I was worried they're going to die. I've got some actually that I'm going to put into the ground and see if they will go, because otherwise, if I don't do it now, it will just be a waste. My one remaining pea in this section. And then I think these are the Blue Lake, and they are doing absolutely amazing. But I've not got, well, I can't see yet any actual beans coming out, so I'm not sure how productive they'll actually be. But I can't remember what these are called again. Ambassador peas, I think they were. They seem to be doing lovely. And they're flowering now, so whether that means they're bolted or that means that this is when I'm going to start to get peas, I don't know. If anyone could let me know, that would be great. And then the edamame, they're still going, they're still growing strong. I can't actually see where I'd get any beans from yet, but they're still alive, which is always a good sign. Got my Christmas bed. So I've got in here I've put in some carrots, some parsnips, and then my Brussels sprouts along the edge. And I just need to give this a really good water. It's really dried out quite quickly actually. A little bit worried about these seeds aren't going to germinate. Thing is, the Brussels haven't died yet, which is always a good sign. But whether the actual seeds need a lot of water just to be able to germinate themselves, I don't know. So we'll see. That's a little bit risky, and I am pushing it with the parsnips as well. My strawberries, on the other hand, are thriving. They are just absolutely beautiful. I've got a couple of bits actually that I'm going to cover these with. They're almost like little bags, so I'm going to cover them up, but some of them are just so strong. And these ones at the end here are just going to be absolutely delightful. So I want to make sure that I get them before the birds do. I can't wait to just be on the plot and just start having these as snacks when I'm here. It'll be so nice. And then last but not least, we've got the fruit cage. So this was a raspberry someone gave me, and it is starting to come through now, which is good. I've got a funny feeling though, it's an autumn one. This was another one that someone gave me and it died, and one of them was autumn and one of them was summer, so I'm not quite sure, but it looks very different to the other one I had, with the one in the corner, and that's a summer fruiting. So I got a funny feeling it's a autumn, but that one's doing really well. It's starting to go through the thing a little bit, but I might need to get some wire now and put these along here in between each of the struts and start to kind of put it into shape a little bit better. Otherwise it's just going to go mad, and I think it'll be really difficult then to get the raspberries off. I need to really finish the fruit cage before it does start to fruit. Hopefully I can get that done in the next couple of weekends really. And the last two is my blueberry, which is doing really nicely. The flowers are really pretty on them, and I'm not sure whether that's how you kind of get the fruit. They're pollinated and that's where you get the fruit. I need to look into that a little bit more. And then the blackberry, that was something like £4, has started to come through as well. Whether I'll actually get fruit on this year, I don't know. Probably not. I probably should have cut this down a little bit more, but yeah. So I'm just going to quickly get in the kohlrabi and the spring onions. I'm going to put the spring onions next to the leeks, I think, because there's a little bit of room left there. And I don't really want to disturb any other bits of the soil. I have got a couple of pots I might be able to put them in. But I'm going to do the kohlrabi first, see how that goes. And then, yeah, go from there. Okay, so kohlrabi is in. I've probably done these far too close together. However, what I'm going to do is, because I don't know whether they're going to survive or not, I'll put in as many as possible and take out what I don't need in the end. And then I've put in my spring onions just here. I need to push them down a little bit more, but I'm hoping once I put some water on them as well, it might suck them in a little bit. So we'll see, but I've probably done them too close together, but I can always thin them out if I really need to, and we'll see.